Damascus walnut.
There's no such thing.
Epoxy. Love it or hate it, there's a lot of cool things you can do with it. And today we're going to try to do something, at least it's a little bit unique, that maybe you haven't seen before. Before we get too far into this, let me show you where I come up with the cut file and how I made up this image for the Damascus to get engraved. All right, now that we zoomed through that, we can get back to the build. I went ahead and chamfered the edges, as you can see here, because it was going to be a lot easier to do it now, and I wanted the pattern to show on the chamfered edges as much as I could, so I decided to do it before I actually etched the Damascus image into the walnut. So after I get this routed on here, I'm going to put it back in there and etch it in the exact same spot as where we cut it. I know there's going to be that one guy that just every time in the comments, how am I supposed to build that if I ain't got no laser? I ain't got all those expensive tools. Well, let you in on a little hint. I think you could do this with a chisel or a sharp knife or anything, just to etch a little bit in the wood. You could scratch it with a nail if you had to. Just be creative and use the tools that you got, and you'd be amazed what you can do when you put your mind to it. I really had no idea how deep to etch the image into the wood so that when I sanded this back, it was going to look right. But to be honest, I only did this 2 times. I did the initial test just to see if it was going to work, and it did. And then this second time that you're watching here was actually the final product that I used. So turns out that I am a pretty good guesser. So then, of course, the favorite of all favorites is sanding. A lot of sanding was in this bad boy. For anybody that knows what French polishing is, that's probably not really what I was doing here. I've seen it done, I've read about it, and I know that it's a lot of work. I tried my best at doing a little French polish. It wasn't that great. The finish turned out good, but it wasn't quite as shiny as I wanted it to be. I just felt real important that I was trying to do a French polish, because I wanted this to be super fancy. But turns out I just had to buff over it afterwards, which got the glassy shine that I wanted, and everything worked out in the end. In hindsight, this part was probably almost useless. I don't think there was any need that I had to put those little pins of the cutoff rivets in here. They probably didn't add any strength whatsoever. My thought was that they would kind of help bond the epoxy from one side to the other. They wasn't even tight enough really in the hole to provide any strength, but it made me feel good at the time and it turned out good in the end, so everything was fine.